Hi, welcome back to the shop. Today I wanted to show you this Markwell manufacturing company guillotine, as I like to call it, a miter cutter, and it's a great little tool for you unplugged enthusiasts, and it's fun to use. Nowadays most framing shops have these, but they're pneumatic and they have all sorts of safety mechanisms. This one does not, so you have to be careful. It's foot powered, but you have to be careful to keep your fingers out of the way of these blades. The blades are interesting. It's a two-piece, a blade here and another blade here that are bolted in, and they have to be perfectly aligned with this face here so that they give you a clean miter cut. I'm going to show you some close-ups of it working so that you'll be able to see it better. But I wanted to just say hello before I get tight into this. So let's get a little closer. If you notice in here, these are the blades that I was talking about. One here and one here. And they're bolted to this armature here that goes up and down. And the shear, here's the bevel of the blade. And it shears against this plate in here. And this is where I was saying it's very important to keep your fingers out of here. These two guides keep the blade from moving this way, which would give you a bad cut. You want these to be nice and stable. Now coming down from this, you of course have your outfeed and your infeed tables. But coming down here, you see the cast iron base with the number 8 Markwell Manufacturing Company. I don't know what the 97's for. It's been there as long as I've owned it. New York, New York. And here is the power. Right here. This, as you can see, is kind of difficult. There's a big spring in here, but it's foot powered. Here you see the armature, and this goes up and down in here with this tongue and groove system to keep it from turning this way. Comes down here, and this attaches the back armature to that piece. Very heavy cast iron, very stable. And as we go down here, we see that here's a spring, and that's the spring for the return. This is a little washer that you can tension and make the spring so that it's stronger and will push up easier to return the blade to an upright position. Going down here is the linkage to the foot-powered pedal with a pivot back here and the pedal out here. So it's a pretty simple mechanism. Works great, but I wanted you to see all of that before I get into showing you how it cuts. Here are the blades again. I'm going to move it up and down so you can see the mechanism and how it works. You see it slides along these two tongues right there, and sometimes it's a little sticky, but it works very well. You see now why I call it a guillotine. Let's do some cutting, but I'm going to put this camera onto a tripod so I have both hands. Okay, let's start with a fairly light wood, just a piece of mahogany, and feed it in here. Now if I were to feed it in a lot, I might be able to take it off, but that's not really what this is for. This is for really cleaning up your miter after you've sawn it to give you a really smooth joint. So really what you want to do is only take off a hair. So you hold it down in here, not with your hand in here, but out here. I'm using this finger just to point to it so you can see. I've got it against this fence here to keep it square. And now you bring down the blade and it literally shears off just that little excess that might have been off from your miter box with a saw cut. So you can see how nice and smooth that is. It'll make for a nice joint. Now let's try some spalted maple, harder wood, and we'll put it in upright first. Again, you really don't want to go in too far. You're just trying to shear that off. So let's do this one. A beautiful cut. Super smooth. And a very tight, perfect 45 degree. Now, nothing's perfect, but that's as close as I'm ever going to get it. And I'll never get it that close or tight on a miter box or with a saw, because I would have the saw marks in here. I'm going to show you that you can start with a square piece, and this tilts a little bit because it's not where I usually keep it, and that's more level, but I brought it out so I could try to get a better shot of it here. But you can see here's the foot power, and so I'm going to come in here and just take off a little bit, probably cuts of about 1/8 of an inch. I haven't gone to a saw, and then when I get down to my finish point, I'm just going to move it out just a little bit to get a really thin shear. Super, super thin. But you can see, there it is. Come in a little bit so you can see. How's that? Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I enjoy showing off this little tool. It was given to me by my cousin who lives up in Cape Cod, and he got it at either a tool auction or some auction, and he kept it in his shop for the longest time and then gave it to me down here in North Carolina. I had to sharpen the blades and tune it up a little bit, but it didn't take that much. And before I knew it, it was just cutting beautifully mitered joints that were so tight that you really can't get much better than that. It's been fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope I'll see you again in the shop sometime soon. Take care.